We talk a lot in these programs about foot contacts, and rightfully so, because good ground contacts will connect to your body better. You'll have more mobility, better muscle activation, and for the foot specifically, connects you to your hip, your pelvic floor, more mobility, more glute activation, more stability and strength when you're training. And the hand is no different. The hand can connect you to the elbow and the shoulder, give you better rib cage position, scapular position, and help you feel better. If you're training core on the ground, you're doing a kettlebell arm bar for mobility, or you're doing an overhead press or a bench press. They all matter. So when we talk about hand contacts, we want to think about one main contact, and that's this little bone at the bottom of your pinky where it meets the wrist. It's called the pisiform or the pisiform. That bone right there acts as the heel. So we think about the heel of the foot being kind of the first thing that we make contact with, and then we wrap the foot down. The hand is the same thing. So if we're working in a straight arm position like this, you're going to find that pisiform bone. That's going to help you create some external rotation, kind of open up the shoulder and everything. And then you want to think about pushing away from that, the hand contact, and flattening your hand, okay? What that does, that kind of opens the arm, and you'll notice it also opens my shoulder up. It gives me a good reached shoulder position, helps me connect to the serratus and get the shoulder nice and long so it's nice and stable. So if I'm going to do an elbow position, you're going to start the same way. Depending on how much range of motion you have in your arm or what the goal of the drill is, you're just going to set your elbow down, and you can start by connecting your pisiform to the ground and your elbow to the ground, and then getting long through the shoulder just like this. Okay. Once you establish those contacts, if you have limited range of motion and you're just working on keeping this neutral and driving to the ground and maybe finding some abs in a side plank or something like this is an okay place to stay. Just keep that pisiform grounded and your elbow grounded. If you're trying to drive some internal rotation in the shoulder, finding the inside of the elbow is a great move. So kind of opening the arm up like this, placing the inside of the elbow down if you have that range of motion. And you'll notice that also pulls my shoulder down and back, gives me really good open position to train this new range of motion, get that rotator cuff, that serratus working for me. And then also I'm looking to flatten the palm the same way I did in that upper position. Now in this position, it's asking more range of motion of the forearm, the wrist, and the hand. So you might get stuck in this open position. That's when you'd grab something like a towel or a wedge and you would slide it underneath so that you could still feel those contacts. And while you're doing whatever drill you're doing, you could be doing literally a kettlebell press from this position. You can be gaining range of motion in this lower arm because of how you're setting this up with the inner elbow contact, the pisiform, and then finding that flat hand and really driving that internal rotation. You're going to feel the small muscles in your shoulder really turn on. If you're in a position like this and this feels almost painful or uncomfortable, you can go into an open palm situation where you're straight on the ground with your elbow nice and long and your palms up and relaxed. This is a great place to start if you're new to positions like this and you just want to really work on getting that long reach to the shoulder, turning those muscles on, and getting those obliques on as well. So the pisiform is important as a ground contact as with the whole hand, right? And a lot of times you'll feel this when you're doing push-ups as well. You'll notice that you're pushing through the hand, but you're getting heavy on the pisiform, but the opening of this hand right here is staying up, and it's very hard for you to push the knuckle of your index finger down. That right there is going to allow you to connect the ground a little bit more. We want this, and so what you might need to do is just space your hands out and maybe open your hands out the same way we would if we wanted to give ourselves more space in a squat. So open that up, find the heavy pisiform, and then make sure that your whole hand is on the ground and maintain that while you're doing the press. As you push through the floor, push through this knuckle without losing the pisiform. Okay. Now, if you're doing dumbbell or kettlebell work, we want to think about the pisiform as well. So if you're doing a kettlebell armbar or a press or even a snatch for that matter, and you're getting set up for that, you want to be grabbing the kettlebell at this angled position so that we can get a little bit of weight in that pisiform. So notice it's not directly across like this. That's going to mean that it's a lot easier to break my wrist when I'm doing this. And by break, I mean out of alignment. So out of neutral. You're not going to actually break your wrist. But I mean, it's going to be easier to keep this neutral and straight up and down position if you're resting at the angle and the pisiform is heavy on that kettlebell like that. could be doing a front rack goblet squat. You're going to be able to connect to the shoulders a lot better if those are resting on the pisiform. Same thing with dumbbells. It's not as specific here, but you might notice a difference. If you find that angled position the same way we just talked about with the kettlebell, and you have that weight of that dumbbell kind of on the base of your wrist, and you keep your wrist like this, you're going to feel like you're pressing through the elbow, and the elbow is going to connect to your shoulder. You're going to have a lot better shoulder range of motion too. So that's hand contacts and elbow contacts for the upright straight arm position to connect to the shoulder, keeping that upper chest open. And then as for the ground, the same thing here, keeping that open chest position, thinking about the shoulder being back and reaching through the floor like that. That's how it's done, guys.
Very nice, I like.